Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the final day of the group stage here in Season 5 of the Cobalt Wins League. Tonight's matchup will see the Red Panda Warriors take on Sure Lee, as both teams hope to finish their regular season with a win. RPW looking for their second win of the season, but regardless of tonight's result, they will finish in 5th place. On the other hand, for Sure Lee, they have a chance to go all the way up to second, depending on their result in this two-game set. Some tiebreakers, of course, would then be on the horizon as well. Lots on the line tonight for Lee, bringing you this last matchup of the group stage. I am your humble play-by-play Chris Crewman, and I am joined by my zesty friend Zathos for this one. Zathos, how you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great. Crewman, your name's Chris?
It is.
Oh, first thing I've ever heard of that. Shows how much we've casted together, but I'm actually, do you know what? That's actually quite stumped me. I don't actually know about that, but welcome back, guys. It's an absolute pleasure, as always, to be here. And I'm actually really excited for this game because our Red Panda Warriors are maybe lower in the, category, as they are 6th place and Surely are 4th. They actually beat Surely in the regular season 2-0. So this is definitely going to be a spicy game.
Yeah, we'll see if they can do it again. You know, would be really a big deal for Surely, obviously, if they go down in this game, that would be very disappointing for them. And Red Panda Warriors, that would be some great momentum, right, going into those playoffs. And we all know how important momentum can be, especially in those higher pressure matches. So, honestly, a pretty important couple of games tonight for both of these teams. It'll be interesting to see what they decide to pull out. You know, we are on 13-7. I believe that just dropped, this past Wednesday. So, a little bit of a new patch for these squads to work with. Anything in particular, any picks or any players that you're going to be keeping a really close eye on tonight, Zathos?
Well, I think we need to actually talk about the patch, which is probably the most important change that has happened, only because of so many of these junglers have been knocked down a little bit. For example, the Sejuani and the J4, and even the Lee Sin got the massive -2 AD nerf, which is going to make sure that his auto attacks might, deal like 2 damage less. It's not really going to be a big deal. But the other champions have been hit with quite substantial nerfs, which does open up a lot of champions, because there was a little bit of a buff to Graves and Kha'Zix. So that is something that could be coming out, because we know the jungler for Red Panda Warriors, JP, absolutely loves this pick. So that's really what I'll be looking for.
Yeah, definitely. The jungle meta is certainly, Riot is clearly trying to shake that up before we head over towards that mid-season invitational for the pro players, so we'll see if that does translate here into the Cobalt Wins League as well. We do have some pretty high-ranked players in this lobby. We've got a smattering of diamond players in here, so definitely I'm sure all these players have also been paying attention to those patch notes, and we'll see what they're going to be deciding to prioritize. But Zathos, are you expecting the Red Panda Warriors to come out swinging in this one? I mean, well, obviously we should kind of hold off on doing any real predictions maybe until we see the drafts complete. But, what are kind of your general expectations going into this match tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be more of a simplistic comp coming out for them, mostly because they do actually have two of their players away for this game, unfortunately. So their top laner of Metallic Forever is going to be substituted with Kaoi, and then their mid laner of Chiwu is going to be changed for Amran. So it's going to be really difficult to decide what they are going to play. So maybe the meta will be coming out as the first bans are coming through.
Yeah, that's definitely worth noting as well. The fact that we do have some substitutes, some emergency substitute players coming in for the Red Panda Warriors. So, while it's absolutely important, as you did bring up, the fact that they were able to take down Sure Lee earlier on in the season, that was in reality a different set of 5 players. So it'll be especially interesting then to be able to track that and see if they're going to be able to accomplish the same feat with these substitutions. It could also maybe make things a little bit more difficult for Sure Lee in terms of what they're expecting their opponents to pull out, playing against a couple of players that they're maybe not quite as familiar with. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of factors into this matchup as well. But the first bans are coming through, as you say. Looks like the Victor and the Olaf banned away so far by Sure Lee, and a little bit of a visual bug, unfortunately, on the side of the Panda Warriors there. So I don't know if they maybe actually lost that ban. Oh, yeah, that makes sense, actually. Because of the emergency substitutions, I believe they would be losing 2 bans for this first game, at least. I believe is how that one works.
Yeah, no. Wait, so that actually means that they're going to lose both bans, which is going to be super detrimental to them, because of the top laner of Surely is an infamous three player, being somebody who loves the Olaf, loves playing the or was it the Jack's top lane, playing stuff like the Gangplank, and all of these are wide open for him. So I'm expecting one of these bans or one of these picks to get picked.
Yeah, especially those dropped bans, could open up something for Phobos, a player that we know likes to pull out the carries, but on blue side means that Phobos won't have access to the counter pick, so just going to go, it's actually, I thought it was going to be that Gangplank that you were just mentioning, Zathos, but instead, it will actually be the Maokai that is prioritized for Stevo.
Well, because most of these junglers have actually gone down in priority, it actually puts Maokai a little bit more up, so it can get played in that jungle role. However, it's still very good as a support if you want to have a little bit of an engage tool that can be super annoying, or even in the top lanes. There's just so many different things. However, Red Panda Warriors have done their homework and realized Trundle's an amazing counter towards this, because if Maokai ever goes in, Trundle just completely rips away his resistances and then just eats him alive.
Yeah, Trundle actually is surprisingly strong in the meta right now. I don't think the champion actually received any changes recently. I don't believe that Trundle has made an appearance in the patch notes over the last, several weeks, but regardless, he has been sort of rising in popularity. I've been seeing him a little bit more in solo queue. I've been having some good games on the Trundle as well myself, so love to see that pick come through for the Red Panda Warriors. Great, of course, into the Maokai as well. We're going to go ahead and lock in the Scion for some additional front line, and then the response from Shore Lee, looking to lock in their ADC here, and there is the Jinx, a very meta pick indeed, Zathos.
Yeah, I actually didn't really mind going for the Kog'Maw instead, only because you see two major tanks on the side of Red Panda Warriors. The only issue is you still don't see the mid, the ADC, or the support, so they could try and hard counter you. So Jinx is like a little bit more safer that they can pick. I'm expecting this to get paired with something that's more enchanted like in the spot lane. So if it's not going to be that, a Thresh is actually a decent option as well, mostly because it has so many disengaged tools with the Lantern to get Jinx out to safety, the hook to make sure that whenever anyone dares to come close, able to hook him in, and because of the buff he got recently, his cooldown at max level gets down to 2 seconds if he hits a hook, so he can almost instantly hook straight away.
Yeah, I believe Thresh did receive a very, very slight nerf on this current patch. The refund on his Q when he does land that hook has been decreased by like 1 second, so not quite as able to chain those hooks together as he was before, but absolutely still a very strong pick, especially alongside this Jinx, as you were talking about, Zathos. And the Senna response coming through is very, very interesting from the Red Panda Warriors. And it kind of, yeah, it raises some questions, right? That maybe the Scion might not necessarily be going top lane. What do you think?
100% this is going towards bot lane. I in no world see the Scion going top lane, especially because there's just so many great counters in the meta for it, especially something like a set that could go right against, or even the infamous Jax is still completely open that surely can pick, and then when you have Jax into Scion, it's just a free farm for Jax. It becomes an absolute monster in this late game. So I'm expecting this to be towards the bot lane, where it's just going to be so tanky and going to be able to just be this beefy front line that Red Panda Warriors needs.
Yeah, seems like a pretty strong option. The Senna allowing the Scion to be flexed like that. The Annie lock in now as well. Annie has been hit a couple of times with the nerf bat. She's received a couple of taps on the head there with the bat, but still pretty strong pick, I hazard to say. And likely going to be going into the mid lane for Wux there. And now the Aurelion Soul going to be the response, so definitely able to outrange the Annie. And now we just need that top lane pick for Phobos.
Well, Aurelion Soul actually got quite a few nerfs recently, so it's not as strong or as powerful, especially in this early game, because they just ripped basically away all of the main base stats that Aurelion Souls has in this early game. So it's going to be a lot easier to kill, a lot less damage, meaning that Dragon Breath needs to get to around about level 11 with 2 items before it's going to actually pack some punch. So it does give a lot of opportunities for Annie to try and find these engages and go on these 1v1s. But I'm not really enjoying Annie into the team comp of Surely, mostly because she enjoys when people run into us. And Aurelion Soul and Jinx aren't very known for coming straight into your face. So it'd be very interesting if she is actually able to get these ultimates off.
Yeah, it didn't see the Aurelion Soul yet, of course, on the side of Red Panda Warriors. So the Annie was a blind pick in the mid lane there. So we can we'll allow it. Basically, is what I'm trying to say, Zathos. But that Gwen on R5, I think, is a fantastic pick. Shirley obviously going with the Ornn for Phobos also seems like a relatively safe blind. But now with that Gwen pick for Kaoya, That is a great counter pick and should be very, very tough to deal with in the side lane.
Yeah, Gwen's going to be really difficult to deal with, especially against someone like the Yon, because he's just going to be able to, after first item, be able to heal any damage that Steve or Phobos going to be throwing at her. It could even go for a 2v1 because she's just so amazing against these tanks. So if Surely get through this early game, there's no way they're going to lose this late game team fight, especially when you have a Jinx and Aurelion Sol. But this early game is looking very scary for them.
Absolutely agree there, Zathos. So the Trundle as well, kind of bringing it back to the beginning of this draft for the Red Panda Warriors. Trundle is one of the best early game junglers in the entire game. Such a strong skirmisher early on, with the Chomp being able to steal away that attack damage from his opponent. And on the other side of things, Maokai, of course, can look for early plays. He has that lockdown, but he's certainly, when it comes to dueling, when it comes to 1v1s, he can't hold a candle. Can't even touch this troll. So that is seeming like a pretty powerful option for the Red Panda Warriors. But as you already mentioned, Zathos, if we do go late, surely they've opted into a full scaling, full team fight composition here. All three lanes, they're just looking to sit back through this early game, not fall too far behind. And as you mentioned, once we get to those team fights, this composition should be pretty unbeatable. Although there is the infinitely scaling Senna on the other side of things as well. But overall, Zathos, what do you make of these two compositions? Which one do you prefer?
Well, I would really give it to Surely for the late game, only because of I just enjoy these teams. They're able to just lay back, able to soak up damage, and I think this Thresh pick is the main horizontal point they can go for in this early game. Mostly because of this Maokai, when he comes down, if you have a Thresh hook that nicely lands, able to kill Senna if she steps up slightly far, or even this mid laner of the Yanni steps up slightly too far. If Thresh and Maokai come in, it's going to be so hard for her to play the game, especially if she does opt for this Ignite. It just makes it where if she dies just once, she's going to get so far behind this Aurelion, so it's going to get super out of hand.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Ignite for Annie, probably not the play necessarily. It is what's being hovered, it looks like, in the client right now. So we'll have to see if the Annie is going to be able to get some value out of that. But we shall see. I mean, I kind of like Shirley's composition as well. It is definitely a very cohesive composition. They know exactly what they're trying to do in this game. And they are currently higher up in the standings. So we could be seeing some player diffs on the Rift in this one as well. Something else to think about. But as you mentioned at the top of the stream, Red Panda Warriors have been able to get the better of Surely already this season. And they have a pretty interesting draft here with a lot of great options. I think they might be able to make it happen again. We'll just have to wait and see, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be on to the Rift soon with our first game of the night. Okay, my friends, welcome onto Summoner's Rift for Game 1 between Surely and the Red Panda Warriors. The last game, or the last match, rather, of the group stage for both of these teams. We have Surely, of course, on the blue side, Panda Warriors on the red. Both teams grouping up as 5 at the level 1 mark, Zathos.
Yeah, it's looking like nothing's really going to come of it. Both teams just hunting, see whatever they can. But I really don't like Surely doing this, because when you're walking into a Scion, if they're all hiding in the bush like this, it's able to get a 5-man kill of you are not going to be winning that fight. So Surely should be quite fortunate they weren't actually able to find anyone. So they are going to reset instead, probably place down a few wards to get themselves right into this game. Because one thing that we need to state very strongly is Surely's weaker in the early game. So they really need to get to this late game.
Absolutely right, Zathos. Couldn't agree more. And I'm sure that Surely... you see what I did there? I'm sure Surely will be fully aware of that as well. So while they did go for that cheeky little invade towards the top side, I do think it's pretty unlikely that the Panda Warriors would be doing a 5-stack in that top side tribe rush. So while it was a bit risky, I do agree. I think overall, it was a relatively safe move, and now they do have complete knowledge of where JP is starting on this red buff. So early vision advantage going solidly in favor of Surely.
Well, it's looking like both junglers actually just want to fully rotate and go towards the spot. So I get a full 6-count clear, get themselves as tanky as possible, and fight for the Skull Crab. I'm expecting Surely to actually win the Skull Crab, because the priority they should have with Thresh and Jinx being both ranged. But anything can really play out, because if Sion's able to get a good Q, he's able to clear this wave out super fast.
Good Q like that one, perhaps?
Yeah,
Decimating Smash?
Slightly. I'm going to get a health pot out of Mega Chad.
Yeah, very true, but okay, that's level 2 mark comes through first for Surely. Gonna go in, get the double flay, the exhaust comes out as well, and poor Panda Warriors, they can't get to the level 2 mark. They're just not able to kill the minions in time, and it will be Willow who is able to walk away with the first blood. Mega Chad does have to flash away from the zombie Scion, and oh, Bivera was actually really close, but in the end, the Scion will not be able to get anything back. Root onto Willow. Oh, but the death sentence is true to its name, and Jinx is going to start this one off with 2 kills before 3 minutes, Zathos.
That's exactly what Surely needed, even though at the start they made a slight mistake of focusing 2 different enemies. But before I can say anything, JP's actually looking for a fight here, but he will get spotted out. That's very good from Big Boy Stevo, making sure that he doesn't ever take a fight against JP, because he knows he will lose this. But to quickly go back onto the bot side, the thing that really happened was Willow and Mega Chad focused 2 different players, but because they had enough damage to focus one down, TP comes back out, and it was looking really bad. They weren't able to push out this wave, but an incredible hook from Mega Chad made it where they were able to get 2 kills, push out their wave, and now this Jinx is just so strong.
Yeah, it's crazy. Already Noon Quiver at 3.5 minutes. That is insane. That is completely ridiculous. And you were already saying, you know, before that even happened, that you were expecting Jinx and Thresh to have prio in this bottom lane. And now, with the current state of this bottom lane, I do think that now might be a little bit of an understatement. We do have Trundle coming down. We're going to have a root on the Mega Chad, as well as a... Oh, actually, the Decimating Smash denied by the Flay. And guess who's here for the counter gank? It's Stevo. He's going to go in with the Flash Advance, and it's going to be, it looks like, the 3rd kill for Willow on the Jinx. Excited now. Going to land the zap onto Metallica, and one more rocket. Going to seal Senna's fate once again. 4-0 now for Willow on the Jinx. They're completely running away with this early game.
I think this happened in my solo queue today, and let me tell you, I did not win the game after the enemy Jinx was 4-0. I was typing in chat, FF please, I can't play this game. Help me as much as possible. But no, this is really bad from the side of Red Panda Warriors, because look at how big this wave is the Senna isn't able to catch as well. I understand.
There's no way, right? There's no way, right?
It's just getting bad from worse.
Oh my god. Humanity. 5-0 before 5 minutes. Willow's getting a kill a minute.
I feel like we just call this a bot diff and just go next.
Well, Phobos may end up giving one back over here as the snips do come through. Kaoya needing that to come back off. Cooldown, and Phobos still had the flash, so the Orny boy going to be completely fine up there. And the Red Panda Warrior is going to have to wait, it looks like, a little bit longer before they can get anything going in this one.
I'm not going to lie, that's not even really that bad for Phobes in the top lane. Mostly because he has TP to get back instantly, gets the Ghost to the Flash, it's just a trade for Sums, and the way's perfectly fine for him. He can actually freeze it if he decides to, because he's full health against this Gwen. He's in a really good position.
Yeah. Oh, no. Gets the knock-up. Kaoya, no ghost, right? Just used it to go for that chase. Phobos just waiting on the spells. Might not even need him as he's got his jungler here to cut off Gwen's escape path. And it's going to be another kill going over to Shore Lee. They are now running the whole map, Zathos, with the scaling composition. This is just looking real doomed for the Panda Warriors. The junglers will find each other, and JP does win these against the Maokai, but the phase rush is going to allow Steve-O to move over to safety back into his own jungle. Level 6 on Remnant, who is thinking about moving over, and JP will respect it.
Yeah, no, JP can't just do it by himself, mostly because his top and jungler, or top and mid lane, have both reset, so he has just no support. And then you have Phobes and Remnant in that position, so it'd be a 3v1 if we ever take that fight. And they may be the scaling comp, but trust me, you cannot win that fight. So hook almost lands in the bot lane, and it's just so scary. If any of these hooks land, just gonna mean lights out for the bot side of Red Panda.
Yeah, absolutely. His level 6 has come through for the Ornn. But it's Trundle, who, the jungler for Gwen, is the one currently in that river brush near the top lane. There's another death sentence just going to go wide there. It looks like JP actually wants to sneak away this blue buff. That does mean that Steve-O is going to have priority on this bottom side of the map. See if the tree is going to be able to do anything with it.
Yeah, and with JP actually having Pro on this top lane, it's really not that good for him, mostly because you might want to get this Annie and this Gwen ahead, but when you're against an Ornn, there's no way you're ever going to be able to kill that, and then you also have Remnant who's able just to fly himself out of that. It could be really difficult to try and get these fights started and get his team back into this game.
And then Trundle's not even ahead of the Maokai in CS. I mean, Trundle's not really known for fast clearing. He's definitely... The reason he's strong in the early game is because of his skirmishing capabilities. But still, I mean, it is leads across the board for Shore Lee with this composition. They're going to be able to get the first dragon now as well, Zathos. And, I mean, it's already a 3,000 gold lead. Like, it's feeling really doomed for Red Panda Warriors right now.
Logic. Let's not show the gold graph for this bot lanes. I feel like this being a bit rude at this point. This is bullying.
Just rubbing it in. Mega Chad? Oh, just wide right on that one.
Yeah, but I'm loving the roam time because of the Jinx being perfectly safe to farm up, get some pressure in this early game in this mid lane. So then here's Aurelion Sol's able to push this out, able to reset and get himself right back in without losing anything.
And you were actually calling out those Thresh roams from the drafting phase, Zathos. So we can see Mega Chad making good on that, taking you up on that recommendation. Willow, gonna be fine. This Thresh is here. Yeah, actually, this is gonna be a collapse onto the bottom lane of the Panda Warriors. Once again, the Death Sentence going to connect onto the Senna, and Metallica is not going to be able to escape. Did have the flash, but it didn't matter. Needed to flash the hook. Wasn't able to do it. The Scion will flash away from the Super Mega Death Rocket. Means Vivera will not go down this time around, but it is now 6-0 for Willow on the Jinx.
Yeah, and I was talking about the roams of Thresh, but when you're 80 carry 6-0, do you really need to roam this game? You should be focusing hard around Willow and making sure that he has a clean and easy way to win this game. As Annie in the mid lane gets a bit of poke off. And this is the one thing that you can do. Even if you don't get the kill in this mid lane, you're able just to push him out. It just gives you so much priority that you're able just to push out this wave, get a good reset, make a wave. Remnant has two decisions. One, to reset and lose the full wave and get his health back up, or two, stay in this wave with a really bad position.
Oh, the flash in, the ignite comes down, the last auto attack, I think he's gone. One more tick, that's going to be it. Chu able to get the Panda Warriors on the board. The mid laner finds the angle and is able to pick up the solo kill.
I completely forgot about the third option. The third option is absolutely just flash in like a madman, kill the enemy laner, make it where he loses his whole entire mid wave, and on top of that has no HP. It does the first two, and does even better.
Yeah, really heads up there from Chu. Clearly some comfort on the Annie, knowing the limits of the champion. Executing well there, just knowing that he had the opportunity to punish that Aurelion Sol. And very, very successful in doing so. But don't know if it's necessarily going to be enough, Zathos. We're going to need to see a lot more of those if the Panda Warriors are going to come back in this one. And we're going to need to see it soon, because the later this game goes, as we've already mentioned several times, Truly is just going to become more and more favored.
Yeah, and one thing I was quite skeptical in is the Agile Ignite in the mid lane when you're playing the Annie to Aurelion Sol, which likes to stay safe. But to be misjudged, apparently Annie does a lot of damage that I did not know about.
Oh yeah, she packs a punch for sure. Tibbers, you know, is he's been working out. As, oh dear, okay, Steve-O is going to look for Gwen once again. That's going to be the precision advance comes through. It's going to be Phobos flashing forward and going to be able to finish off that kill with the Bellows Breath. Nicely set up from the top laner. Good support from Steve-O. 8-1 now on the board for sure, Lee.
I actually really love that play because of, you know how the top laner of Gwen has a way to stay defensive, make sure that nobody's able to come in with one of her abilities. They made sure the ability was down as on...
Pillar comes down. Phobos has already been subjugated and does not have flash, but it doesn't matter. Able to walk it out. JP not able to close the distance. Had the flash there also on the Trundle. So I wonder if maybe he had gone for the flash immediately after casting Subjugate, be able to start stacking up that lethal tempo. Maybe he would have been able to get that kill, but not willing to commit the summoner spell. Just the ultimate, and Trundle's not going to be able to find anything in that top lane.
Well, I want to direct you to something more important than any of that. It was a boot stiff. Because of JP having no boots at all, he wasn't able to catch up, and it allowed Surely Phobos just to run out to safety.
Yeah, definitely boot stiff coming into play there. No doubt about it, Zathos, as... Yeah, this bot lane, oh dear, that's going to be another death sentence landing. It's the Unstoppable Onslaught comes out in response from Vivera, but now the Scion is in a very awkward position. He's going to get flayed backwards, and he doesn't have flash, remember, from before. And yeah, he knows he's just dead. He's not even going to try to run, as, you know, it was an interesting choice to try to immune the CC with the ultimate going forward, as that is going to be Chu in a lot of trouble now in the mid lane, but does have his jungler. Will JP be able to turn this one around? The Annie is quite low, but so is the A-Soul, as Remnant's going to flash away from the Trundle. Will not be able to escape as JP follows up at Steve-O, able to trade back onto the Annie as well. So both mid laners taken out by the respective junglers in the mid lane. A pretty even trade overall, and if we take a look back at this bottom lane, it's just Willow continuing to take over.
Yeah, no, he just get himself an extra tower plate, get himself even stronger than before. And whenever he resets, I think he might even be at 1.5 items with how much gold he has been able to obtain. But really well played coming up from Chu. He's the main central point trying to get his team back into this game. Getting an amazing ultimate on the Annie, able to lock up two of them, the mid and jungle. But then his jungler of JP was just slightly too far behind, meaning he can't join straight away. So able just to, after the ultimate, burst her down.
So we are seeing JP drop that Herald in the mid lane for some additional priority, and then moving over towards the Dragon. So looking to tie up that Dragon count at 1-1, should be able to secure it. Really good timing here from the Panda Warriors, as they knew the Surely bottom lane was on a reset. So they are going to be able to lock down this neutral. That is something, at least. Let's see what soul we're going to have this game. It's a Hextech Soul Zathos. Really, really powerful for so many of these champions, but especially the Jinx and the Aurelion Soul, and that is going to be something that I imagine Surely are very, very happy about.
Yeah, I think it's the best soul they could really have, except for maybe getting the Ocean Soul, because of how big their two tanks are. But no, it's just going really good for this bot lane, especially when they both have finished their first item.
Oh, another death sentence. The Flame Chomper's behind as well, but Vivera able to walk around them this time. Not necessarily perfectly placed on those Flame Chompers. The Scion still going to take a little bit of a beating in that trade. Kraken Slayer, as we can see, already complete for Willow. But Leandri's also finished up for Chu, so that is a mythic done for the Panda Warriors as well.
All I'm going to have to say is Mega Chad is living up to his name. Hook after hook landed, and getting his team just in a bare position. But they can even take tower here.
Yeah, it is gone. Not quite able to get that last turret plate, but still, as another hook. Not followed up on this
man doesn't miss
around.
at this point. I think he's had like an 80-90% hook ratio at this point. So I don't know what you really meant to do when you're against someone like that. It feels like he's playing the new Fufu Bunny. He was a old Thresh player back in the day. He was the one to actually invent the bunny hop. Maybe we'll see some tech like that coming out today.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Love the shout out there to Fufu.
Do you know what he's actually up to now?
I do not.
For everybody who doesn't know, he's gone down a little bit of a weird route. He's gone down a lewd ASMR / like 18+ League of Legends route. Yeah, with like egos and everything. No, I'm being fully serious. If no
Oh,
one knows
wow.
about it, search it up. I think he may have even got his account deleted on YouTube. It's some weird
Oh,
stuff.
goodness.
But to get back into the game,
Incredible.
and not about 18-year-olds plus girl YouTube videos and League of Legends, we do have Surely starting up Drake. Oh, sorry, Rift L.
Yeah, they should be able to secure this Rift Herald. It was, of course, the Panda Warriors that were able to secure actually the first Herald, which, as we saw, they were able to use to get some priority in the mid lane. But this time around, going to be the side of Surely that locked down the big purple crab. And, you know, with these mythics coming through, as we get later into the game, they get stronger and stronger. It's going to be more and more difficult for the Panda Warrior. Oh, Chu in trouble, but trading back a lot of damage onto the Jinx. Willow forced to back it up, but will still be able to secure the last hit with the rocket, and that was a great death sentence onto Tibbers from Mega Chad, denying the bear from chasing down the AD carry. And here comes Vivera, but is it going to work out? He's not really able to get onto the AD carry. Willow still with enough mana to pump out the DPS with these rockets. Gotta be careful though, can't get hit by the Destiny Smash, but will be able to get another kill with the Zap Death Sentence, just barely short there, not going to connect on Metallica, but the range. Oh, the Destiny Smash! That was Willow just stepping up just a hair too far forward. Will get shut down by the Scion. And that is a very big shutdown, but still, it's overall the side of Surely that win out, and now we have Aurelion Sol making his way back into the middle lane. It's going to be the root down. The shield, will it be enough to save Mega Chat underneath the turret? It will, as Remnant is able to take down the Senna. So, in the end, what was that, a 4 for 2?
Yeah, that was a 4-2, but I think that might actually be worth from the side of Red Panda Warriors, only because they're able to finally shut down the Jinx, able to get her big bounty. Unlucky it did go over towards the side, as we can actually take a look at really what went wrong. Because the side of Surely just got a little bit too overconfident, thought they could take a fight, even though the Jinx is on slivers of HP. So then the re-engage comes out from the Scion, trying to see what he can do. And you're about to see an amazing Q coming out from side, is able to kill the Jinx. You'll see it in just a second. Take a look. Able to kill him off, and it allows them right back into this game. Well, maybe not right back, but definitely getting themselves in a better position than before.
Yeah, they are still down about 4,000 gold, 4,500 gold at those. So definitely a bit of a hole still that the Panda Warriors have found themselves in, but Willow gonna get slowed up, but Thresh is here. Mega Chad says, my AD carry is absolutely fine, and in fact will be the enemy support that has to flash out of that situation, as that sense not going to go onto a target this time around, but Herald charging into the tier 1 will get that turret extremely low, and now Jinx is excited, but JP with a well-placed pillar will be able to make his way to safety. Nature's Grasp not going well. I spoke too soon. It sets up for the death sentence, because of course it does. Mega Chad doesn't miss those, and it's gonna be the charge of the tier 2 as well. Jinx able to pick it up, and Vivera able to do nothing except farm up the minion wave, as the lead extends to over 6k now in favor of Surely.
Yeah, this Jinx is so scary. Going straight for the Infinity second item, mean that her auto attacks are just going to be start punching through. I don't even want to think about how much damage she can pump out if she is going to be all on her lonesome. They will finally pick up their second Drake of the game, getting themselves a beautiful Hextech Soul. And I'm expecting them to be focusing this Jinx mostly towards topside now, trying to get all these outer towers and setting up for a Baron, which should be spawned in the next minute and a half.
Yeah, definitely the case. Able to secure that first Hextech Dragon. Gonna feel really, really great for the Jinx, especially, right? That additional attack speed, especially considering the Infinity Edge second choice, as you were just pointing out.
Wait,
so that is... Oh.
Oh,
yeah, that's gonna be... Oh, he's gonna be fine, okay.
Yeah, no, it's the Hextech Portal is actually keeping him out to safety. Really well played from JP, getting himself into a position where he knew he was easily able to get out. Because if it was any other Drake, he would have been absolutely dead there, having four members on the side of Surely hunting him down. And he was actually able to steal away... Well, he actually wasn't able to steal away any camps, but at least I like this decision-making of at least trying to take anything he can.
Yeah, and also the decision-making to get out when he needed to get out, right? Also very, very important, as we do see an Onslaught being unstoppable in the mid lane, going to connect onto the Mega Chad, as Dawn and Shadow will come out as well, and Chu's going to flat forward to get the Timbers onto Willow. They are going to be able to get the Thresh, but Jinx is still alive. The Brambly smash onto the Trundle as JP gets taken down, and now Aurelion Sol has made his way into the mid lane. The skies descend, the stars fall from the heavens, and it's going to be Surely cleaning up in the team fight once again. It's going to be a 4-for-1. They only lose their support, and they're going to go straight onto the Baron.
Yeah, remember that was a 5 versus 4 because the top laner just wasn't there for Red Panda Warriors. He just didn't have a way to join because of the wave was just too big for him. So he's got to decide, does he want to try and contest this Baron? Does he want to try and steal it? But I just don't see in a hell of a way he's going to win this. And this just puts Red Panda Warriors on even a worse position.
That was a T1 Baron. Aware for all of you out there in chat, but still, it was a Baron on spawn for Surely. They are in complete control of this first game. And, you know, a quick reminder about the stakes tonight. If Surely are able to secure the 2-0, that would put them... Okay, Kiyoya gonna go in, gonna look for the solo kill onto Phobos. Under the turret, he flashed the last needlework. He's still gonna go down, but the last turret shot will trade the kill back over as the top laners both drop.
Yeah, sorry, but you need to continue your point. What were you saying?
Oh, yes, of course, of course. If Surely are able to secure the 2-0 tonight, that would put them alone in second place at the end of the group stage. Would be a massive result for Surely. Would put them in a great position heading towards those playoffs.
Yeah, JP's actually in a bit of a difficult position. Even if he's under this tower, this Jinx does have enough damage to kill him.
Yeah, I think the Trundle's in trouble if the Death Sentence lands, and it does, but the minion wave is gone. So Mega Chad not able to go in on that hook just yet, and JP should be able to back it up here. Not going to be defending this outer turret, guys, not against Baron buff. Gonna have to retreat for now. I wonder, do you think they're going to be able to defend the inner turret, Zathos?
I actually really don't think they're going to be able to defend any of these towers unless they're able to one-shot this Jinx before the fight even starts, because this Jinx is just going to be able to be an absolute menace, especially trying to get through these towers.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's actually, interestingly, for Willow, not going for that attack speed item third. Okay, hang on now. We got Kaora getting flayed in as Metallica. Oh, that I think it was the Nature's Grasp that got the last hit. It's going to be so much CC, so many knockups, and it's going to be Willow moving forward, looking to clean up in the fight once again as the inner turret does fall. 2 kills already gone over. Nobody even low on the side of Surely. They're going to easily be able to continue this push. Still a couple waves left on their Baron buff. Tibbers already expended by Chu, and it really feels like the Red Panda Warriors do not have much left in the tank for this particular game. Running rapidly out of real estate, the top lane inhibitor will get taken down. Now the rotation into mid lane should be pretty straightforward for Surely.
Yeah, that was party time for the Jinx. Just been able to free fire straight into that backline, able to pick up a few kills on the back of that, and it's just going all the way of Surely. A good engage coming out from Den, and then just being followed up. There's just nothing you can do. When you, at 23 minutes, can get Tower Delve under your second and third tower at the same time, you know you're so far behind.
Yeah, I think they did know that already. I have to assume there's Zathos. But yes, that was a very clear demonstration of how far behind the Red Panda Warriors really are in this game. And it started so early on, too, right? As that's going to be a flay. That's going to force the flash. The Super Mega Death Rocket, not quite enough damage by itself. But that is going to push JP completely off of the map, which should mean a very, very free Hextech Dragon for Surely. And they're probably not going to get to the soul this game, Zathos. I think the game might end before then.
Yeah, Crewman, I completely agree with you there. It will most likely end before this. But one quick thing about Jinx is they actually upped her damage on a rocket to make it where it is the amount of damage the smite deals as well. So now you need to be very careful as a jungler, because if you ever see that Mega Death Rocket coming in, you have to expect it's going to go for that still, and it has enough damage to lose on.
Yeah, we had a good run there with Super Mega Death Rocket, not doing as much as Smite. You know, I did really enjoy that when that was a thing, but unfortunately, as you say, that is no longer the case. Jinx, once again, able to easily secure those super objectives. As, yeah, we are sieging now onto the bot lane tier 3 as Kaoya. Oh, that is going to be the whiff on the R2 for Phobos, so Gwen might actually win out in the 1v1, but this bot lane fight, ooh, they are actually going to get the kill. The lockdown comes through onto Stevo. They take down the tree. Death Sentence going to land onto the Trundle. Willow's still trying to get this damage out, and the damage is absolutely there. They take out the Scion. The Senna going to get blown up by the aerial damage as well. You see Willow just running forward, just killing everybody. Triple kill for Willow. And that, I believe, is going to be the end of the game, Zathos.
Yeah, I feel like it's curtains on this game. It's all going to be up to this top laner.
Oh, that's going to be Mega Chad taken down by the turret shot. Willow not able to get close enough to the Nexus turrets to destroy them, but the Flame Chompers come out. Gwen steps on one of them. That is going to be the end of the Gwen and the end of game number 1. Oh, they're going for the tutorial victory, Zathos. And,
well, actually, the main reason I don't think they were going for the end here is because we see Senna coming up now. Trundle's going to be up in a few seconds. And if they went for this, there is actually an opportunity for them to actually be getting taken out and getting themselves into a good position because only one inhibitor was taken. But instead, they decided to get top inhibitor, get pusher on mid inhibitor and take it themselves as well. And now they just get a reset, just walk in again, and it should be lights out from there.
Look at that item difference in the bottom lane.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. That's why I see my nightmares in my solo queue game. Me on my Bard or my Senna or Psyche in the bot lane. I see the enemy AD carry having like 4 items compared to my ADC being 2 and 7. I'm writing in chat, FF15, get me out of here.
Yeah. You know, the Scion Flex was really cute. I did like that in the draft. I feel
Jinx
like it was
so red.
Yeah, she did, didn't she? She might steal away Trundle's HP bar as well, potentially, as it's actually going to be a Remnant that is able to secure that one. 5th kill of the game for Remnant on the Aesol, who is also, you know, for what it's worth, Remnant has been having a pretty solid game over here as well. I don't know if it's really mattered all that much. It's kind of been all about the Jinx in this one. Just the fact that she got ahead so early means she just kind of took over the game by herself.
Yeah, but how dominating of a victory this has been. Mega Chad, you can give this player the Thresh. Because whenever he has this Thresh, he's just able to hit all of the hooks. At least 90% of them. And now they are setting their eyes on finally finishing off this game, as this will be the final base defense.
Yes, at long last, you know, this is like the 3rd time I've tried to call it now. I was maybe jumping the gun a little bit, as that's going to be, the last stand for the Red Panda Warriors in this one, but the skies, they will descend, and the health bars will disappear for the Panda Warriors as the turret dives do come in. Double kill so far, as Maokai going to take one, going to deny the Penta from his AD carry, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. 27.5 minutes, surely take an extremely dominant game number 1.
That game really just comes down because of the level 1 play coming out from the Thresh, being able to make sure they got level 2 first, hits the hook onto the center, get themselves 2 kills, and then the teleport coming in from Scion to try and change this around, but it's just too little too late when your center's already dead. He dies again, making it 3 kills, and what can you do when the Jinx is already 3-0 up? Big Boy Steel Roll playing around them as well, making this so difficult. And whenever JP ever did look bot lane, there's just not much you can do, and this game just balloons out of control.
Yeah, I mean, Shirley's topside played well in this game. You know, no doubt about that. No argument here. They definitely played well, but it wasn't about any of them. It was the bottom lane. It was Willow and Mega Chad in the 2v2 that basically won the game before 3 minutes. And that's just pretty much what happened. Well, between the two of them, I guess, there might be a little bit of a contentious case for POG. What do you think? Would you give it to Jinx or Thresh for this one? Both played very well, and it was a team effort between the two.
How about we split it in half? Because I'm a support main. I'll give it to, I'll say his full name, 14-inch Mega Chad. Probably enjoys that. I'll give it to him, and then you can give it to the main AD carry Willow.
Yeah, it seems good. Seems fair.
Bot lane's a 2-player role. I feel like it'd be a bit rude not to give it to both, because both had completely different ways of winning the game, but both were integral in making this bot lane work.
Yeah, I mean, Mega Chad did a beautiful job of setting it up, and Willow did an absolutely beautiful job of knocking it down. So, really well played from the Shorely bottom side to see if they're going to be able to make it another one-sided affair here in this second game, and if they will be able to secure second place for themselves in the standings as we close out the group stage. Don't go anywhere, guys. Well, before we go, Zathos, do you have any closing thoughts on this game number 1, or should we go ahead and head over to that break?
Well, there isn't really many closing thoughts to have, except for it was just a snowball from start to finish, and it just wasn't able to get stopped. I really do want to give good credit to Chu in this mid lane, getting off some of the solo kills in the early game on the Aurelion Soul, making sure that he wasn't as useful in this game. And even when he did go for these 2v2 fights, because him and JP haven't played together, they don't really have that cohesion, I guess, which they should have. But what can you do when you have somebody in who is subbed? But there is real potential in this player, so I would want to say well done to him.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Definitely Chu, especially some good moments in this one. Had that solo kill onto the Aurelion Sol, and also that one really good engage in mid where he was able to get the flash Tibbers onto Willow. And I believe they're able to kill the Jinx in that fight as well. So we'll see if the Red Panda Warriors are going to be able to turn things around in this second game. They definitely have their work cut out for them, guys. We're going to get that draft set up, and we'll be right back. You know, with these mythics coming through, as we get later into the game, they get stronger and stronger. It's going to be more and more difficult for the Panda Warrior. Oh, Chu in trouble, but trading back a lot of damage onto the Jinx. Willow forced to back it up, but will still be able to secure the last hit with the rocket, and that was a great death sentence onto Tibbers from Mega Chad, denying the bear from chasing down the AD carry. And here comes Vivera, but is it going to work out? He's not really able to get onto the AD carry. Willow still with enough mana to pump out the DPS with these rockets. Gotta be careful though, can't get hit by the Destiny Smash, but will be able to get another kill with the Zap Death Sentence, just barely short there, not going to connect on Metallica, but the range. Oh, the Destiny Smash! That was Willow just stepping up just a hair too far forward. Will get shut down by the Scion, as we do see and Onslaught being unstoppable in the mid lane, going to connect onto the Mega Chad, as Dawning Shadow will come out as well, and Chu's going to flat forward to get the Tibbers onto Willow. They are going to be able to get the Thrash, but Jinx is still alive. The Brambly smash onto the Trundle as JP gets taken down, and now Aurelion Sol has made his way into the mid lane. The skies descend, the stars fall from the heavens, and it's going to be surely cleaning up in the team fight once again. It's going to be a 4-for-1. They only lose their support, and they're going to go straight onto the Baron.
Could be an absolute menace, especially trying to get through these towers.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's actually, interestingly, for Willow, not going for that attack speed item third. Okay, hang on now. We got Kaora getting flayed in as Metallica. Oh, that I think it was the Nature's Grasp that got the last hit. As it's going to be so much CC, so many knockups, and it's going to be Willow moving forward, looking to clean up in the fight once again as the inner turret does fall. 2 kills already gone over. Nobody even low in tier 3 as Kaoya. Oh, that is going to be the whiff on the R2 for Phobos, so Gwen might actually win out in the 1v1, but this bot lane fight, ooh, they are actually going to get the kill. The lockdown comes through onto Stevo. They take down the tree. Death Sentence going to land onto the Trundle. The Willow's still trying to get this damage out, and the damage is absolutely there. They take out the Scion. The Senna going to get blown up by the Acelal damage as well. You see Willow just running forward, just killing everybody. Triple kill for Willow. And this is like the 3rd time I've tried to call it now. I was maybe jumping the gun a little bit, as that's going to be, yeah, the last stand for the Red Panda Warriors in this one. But the skies, they will descend, and the health bars will disappear for the Panda Warriors as the turret dives do come in. Double kill so far, as Maokai going to take one, going to deny the Penta from his AD carry, but ultimately it doesn't really... All right. Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ready to get into our Game 2 draft. Should be starting relatively shortly. And Zathos, what kind of changes are you expecting from the Panda Warriors to maybe make this second game a little bit more of a game?
Let me think. Okay, so ban Thresh.
Yeah,
Ban
love
any
that.
engage supports. Pick Morgana or something where you can play completely defensive and let your top lane play the game. Because Remnant was having a good game, was doing okay in the mid lane, same with Steve on foes, but it was really Willow and Mega Chad who seem absolutely on their game today. So you need to make sure that they are not on their signature champions. But this does leave open Phobes as well. Because remember, the side of Red Panda Warriors actually got 2 bans taken away from them. So it's going to be so difficult to just pick the one single champion you want to take away, especially when Olaf is so strong. So they just need to try and find a different bot lane pairing that might be a little bit safer for them.
Yeah, I think that would be some good changes to make for sure, as definitely I think where we have to put most of our attention, right, is towards that bottom lane, given the fact that it was so pivotal in deciding the outcome of the previous game. So I think those recommendations do make a whole bunch of sense. We'll just have to see what the teams are going to decide to go for, because Phobos, as you mentioned, is something else that the side of the Panda Warriors are going to have to keep in mind, right? You know, they have swapped to blue side for this game, so that should help them out a little bit at least in being able to, you know, put forward some more target bans, but they are still going to lose 2 of those bans, actually, due to the fact that they had these emergency substitutions. So, you know, even with the move over to blue side, they're not really going to be able to remove everything.
Yeah, but if you can't remove everything, hopefully you can actually get a counter pick, at least in the support matchup. So I'm expecting the support pick to be a lot later on, especially from Red Panda Warriors, because of how awkward bot lane was for them early game. So I'm expecting them to pick maybe their jungler first and go towards their middle top side. AD carry, it doesn't really matter in the lane because the supports really carry in the early game.
Yeah, definitely the case. So what do you think should be the first pick then? You know, you're expecting a jungle lock-in, you said early on for the Panda Warriors. Would you like to see the Trundle again for JP? I mean, I think JP had a fine game on the Trundle. Maybe if they want to stick with the early game plan, that would make sense, but Trundle not necessarily the highest of priorities just in general. What kind of pick would you like to see from the Pandas?
Well, because of the new patch of 16.7, there's a lot of champions in the jungle which are actually pickable. So something like the Trundle is possible, but I prefer something with a little bit more engaged, something that can get yourselves in there and go for these big fights. Something that it's actually not picked quite often, which I'm a big fan of recently, has been a Xing Zhao, but that's something you don't really see unless you're in LPL or LCK. And I think there's only one jungler who plays it, but I can't remember the name of. So something like that would be really nice. But to be honest, if we're expecting something normal, I'm expecting something like J4, maybe in Sejuani. Even though the Sejuani did get nerfed a little bit, those both are just so powerful in the meta still.
Yeah, I think the Sejuani nerfs were relatively minor, so definitely wouldn't mind seeing that picked away first for the Panda Warriors. But I actually do quite like the Xing Zhao as well. That would be a little bit of a spicier option. You know, it would sort of give you the skirmishing power, once again, similar to Trundle. Xing Zhao very strong in those early skirmishes, more so than the Sejuani anyway. But, you know, definitely a couple of... It's an interesting choice for the Panda Warriors, and maybe they actually want to try to match scaling this time around. Maybe they want to completely pivot the game plan and just be like, okay, so we can't rely on ourselves to win out in the early game, so let's just play for late instead. It's definitely a tough choice. I mean, there's also... It's kind of a question of like how, if you are on the Panda Warriors, how much can you really take away from that game 1 in terms of things that you learned? Like, the game was over so early, it was over so quickly that, you know, it's tough to really take anything meaningful away from that.
Well, I feel like it's really difficult to take a game like that into decisions because you always have an outlier in anything you do, and I felt like that last game was a bit of an outlier coming out from Red Panda Warriors because we know how powerful this team is. It's just when bot lane just gets completely that far ahead, it's just like if you're in a scrim, you're like, okay, that was an unlucky start, let's just restart the whole entire scrim. But of course, in a stage game, you aren't able to do that. So I would actually mind them going for something that's more similar to what they did last game with the Senna and the something like Scion. But instead, something like Diver Khan is very strong, gives you prio in this early game, and does allow you to take these early game fights. So even if it is a Jinx and it is something that, like a Thresh, does want to try and fight you early game, you have ways to actually combat it compared to last time.
Okay, I would have actually really liked the Graggy there, but it is going to be the J4, something that you did mention a little bit earlier on. Going to be first picked for the Panda Warriors, so it is indeed going to be the jungle option. And now the response from Surely. Jinx Thresh is open again, Zathos. I wouldn't mind just running that back.
Yeah, they could run it back. The only issue is if they do pick Jinx, they need to make sure to 100% pair a Thresh with it. Only because if J4 is able to use the Cataclysm with Jinx inside it, Jinx can only flash out. Otherwise, it would be very awkward. But J4 is, well, it's looking like Jinx may instead get put first, but not with the Thresh. Thinking about the Aurelion Soul because of how powerful it is in the late game and how powerful it is in just the meta in general, they really need to decide what they want. Do they want to get this early game bot lane focus like before and think they can really do what they want? But instead, actually focusing for their jungle and get a Sejuani.
Yeah, going to be the Sejuani for Stevo this time around. So actually banning away the tree from red side means that they weren't able to go back towards the Maokai, but Sejuani going to be another excellent frontline engage option for Stevo. And now it is going to be Vivera considering the lore matchup, but no, it's going to be JP, or it's going to be the Varus rather, locked in by JP for Vivera instead. And now thinking about, they could pick away the Thresh here. It's not necessarily a fantastic pairing with the Varus. Thinking about maybe mid lane instead, Zathos.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about the Thresh. It wouldn't actually be too bad here, especially with something like a Cataclysm, where it's able to lock them down and make that so much easier. But instead goes for the Vet, which I actually really enjoy here, because it's a really good blind pick, able to go against many matchups and go at least even, and mostly succeed against a lot of them. And the main thing is it has these engage options, because we saw how Chi was on an Annie, side that is a little bit more defensively sided. Now, seeing them more psych aggressive with the engage they got last time, they're going to be really exciting to watch.
Yeah, the Vex is definitely an exciting pick. It is something that you were looking for last game, I believe. Maybe that was a conversation that we had off stream, but the Vex, I know is something that you're happy to see there, Zath, so it'd be very exciting.
I'm really a big fan of this Morgana ban, mostly because that's the biggest counter to Thresh is. If he dares to try and hit towards you, guess what you can do? E. Black Shield, make sure that you can't do anything, and it just keeps your bot lane so safe. So smart take that out. Karma as well, giving you a speed up. There are still a few options. Melio is available in this patch, able to push away enemies that try and come onto them. Also has the ultimate that completely gets rid of CC as well. So that is a really good option, but it's going to be dependent on what they want, because Vaz can get paired with a lot of champions. But I'm expecting something mostly poke focused, maybe a Chantry, even a Janna I would like here, but I'm not sure if Metallic actually plays it.
Yeah, the Janna would be an interesting choice. You know, a little bit of a disengage option. Pretty good into the Thresh, of course. And when he tries to go in for follow-up on his death sentence, you can just kind of deny that with the Tornado, theoretically. You'd have to be pretty precise with the timing there, but could be an option. It's going to be the Scion locked in again. Likely going into the top lane for Kaoya this time around. And looking like maybe the Renata Glass going to be paired up alongside the Varus.
I really don't mind Scion picking this top lane, able to just stay completely defensive and get them to focus around this bot side. In this Renata pick, I would be a massive fan, only because of it has the handshake to get the Thresh away, and then it has the big ultimate to get everybody to completely disengage. But instead, it's going to go for more engage-focused team comp. It's going to get Khan. And this pairs amazingly with this J4 and this Vex, because he's able to jump in, able to get them all stunned up. J4's able to jump in afterwards, Vex as well, and then you just have Varus in the back line, getting a quick snipe off, able to get one of these champions down. It's just going to be super hard for Jinx to survive this.
Yeah, definitely some really strong dive has been drafted by the Red Panda Warriors. This composition, you know, once again, I actually did like their draft in game one as well, but once again, feels like this team comp is pretty cohesive. It's very clear what they want to do. You know, they have the engage, they have Varus and Vex for that long-range follow-up. But overall, Zathos, it is a relatively short-range composition. Everybody except the Varus gonna need to get very, very close and personal to do their jobs. And if we look on the other side of the rift at Shore Lee's comp, You know, they have, of course, Mega Chad on the Thresh once again. The box could be pretty tough to get through for these divers. And then, of course, the Veigar cage as well can make a lot of these shorter range champions' lives extremely difficult.
Yeah, surely have actually really made a comp that's super well at stopping this engage onto them. Because the Yone's able to get into the back line, able to disrupt the Vows, because he's going to have no support with him. His team is going to go fully into this Cataclysm, the ultimate of J4 to try and kill this Jinx. And especially when you're jumping into the cage as well with Veigar, we know how squishy Rakan can be as a champion. So if Veigar's able to pop up that cage inside the Cataclysm and Rakan's inside, that champion's going to get completely bursted, allow Jinx to get off, getting a little bit speedier. It's going to be so much more difficult to kill him.
Definitely the case. We do also have two very strong early ganking junglers this time around, but really, you know, that's something to consider. But really, Zathos, we have to, I think, zoom in on this bottom lane. That is what decided the previous game, and we see Willow and Mega Chad on the Jinx Thresh once again. How do you think they're going to do against the Varus Rakan? Maybe not necessarily as easy to get that early advantage, but what are your thoughts about that 2v2?
So I'm expecting Jinx and Thresh to most their priority in this lane because of the Jinx Rockets able to push it in. But it's really going to come down to if Rakan has the reaction times to get out of the way of that hook, because Rakan is so quickly able to get in and get out with his E. But if Thresh is able to get his Flay back into the team, able to hit the hook on the way out, it could be really detrimental for this Rakan. So it's a big skill matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know already that Mega Chad has the skill on the Thresh. Time to find out if Vivera and Metallica are going to be able to hold their own a little bit better this time around. Which draft do you prefer overall, Zathos?
It's hard, but I would have to give it to Surely, mostly because of this Veigar being so detrimental to everything that the side of the Panda Warriors have to do, because they need to try and get this cage out before the fight even starts and then go in. Otherwise, it's going to be just so difficult. Well, on the opposite side, I still think the Red Panda Warriors still have a very good opportunity because of this 4v4. Because if Veigar is pinched up in his mid lane because of the Fex priority, they're actually able to get some really good tower dives off, and that's the way I think they can open up this game.
All right, we'll see if they can do it. You know, they've got JP on the J4 this time around. See if he's going to be able to make any early action happen. But on the other side of things, it's Remnant once again on the scaling AP mid. Veigar, such a great pick into this composition, and Phobos now on a carry as well. Very scary draft from Surely. See if they're going to be able to secure the 2-0, secure their second place spot. Don't go anywhere, guys. Game 2 coming at your monitors right after this. Okay, my friends, welcome back to the Rift. We have, of course, swapped sides for this second game. We do see Shirley now moving over to that red side, and we are going to see the Red Panda Warriors taking up positions on the blue. And those positions are 5 different ones across the map, Zathos. Nothing too much happening here at level 1.
Well, things may not be happening yet, but remember there's a lot of action happening in the bot lane. So everybody pray for this bot lane of Red Panda Warriors to not go 3-0 in, I would say, 4 minutes. So let's hope for them. But last game was a little bit of a oopsie, or just call it that, coming out from Red Panda Warriors. Now they've got a fresh start. I'm so excited to see what this team actually has to offer.
Yes, absolutely. I think we are all in agreement there, Zathos. We are hoping that this bottom lane does not completely fall apart so early on as it did previously. And I do think that it should be very, very doable for Vivera and Metallica to have a better laning phase this time around. You know, Rakan, of course, can be pretty safe, has all those dashes, and while Thresh does have the potential to lock down the Rakan, it is certainly not guaranteed. Metallica should be able to play this one well enough to where he can avoid any kind of really dangerous lockdown from Mega Chad, but we will just have to wait and see. We are seeing the lethal tempo on the Varus this time around, Zathos, so most likely going to be that on-hit build. Do you like the on-hit build, given these compositions? What are your thoughts there?
I'm really not a big fan of this on-hit build.
Oh, heck, we might have to take a look at this top lane 1v1 as Kayoya is walking towards the wrong turret. That is not your turret, Kayoya, and the Q3, actually it's going to be the flash for the auto attack, will be what Phobos decides to utilize, and will be able to pick up that first blood extremely comfortably. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, teleport's coming out from both top laners, so it's going to be a straight win coming out from Phobos. And this is what happens when this man gets onto a carry pick.
Oh my god, it's starting already, but J4 is here. This is a J4 in the bot lane at 2.5 minutes, gonna get the knockup onto Mega Chad. Thresh does not have flash. Mega Chad's not going to be able to escape. It is JP that takes the last hit, but Stevo in the top side, able to proc that phase rush. The Frostbite comes down, gets the stun. Kayoya already used the TP, and he's gonna get taken down once again. Phobos 2-0 on the Yone.
Yeah, and do you know how you counter a heavy aggressive bot lane? It's by doing a level 2 gank, and that's exactly what JP did. Having a good initiate of knowing that this bot lane is going to be aggressive and coming for that fight and getting himself an actual kill out of that. And this is exactly what the side of Red Pandas needed. They needed to get themselves a slight lead in this early game in this bot side.
Absolutely. You know, anything other than what happened in game 1, right? But definitely an early lead is very much what they were looking for. But this top side, you know, I guess maybe we don't have to talk about that quite yet necessarily. You know, regardless, Sion will scale into the game. He will be able to do Sion things at some point. And if Varus is ahead with this on-hit build, that is really the key win condition, of course, for the Pandas.
Yeah, but we're going to have to see if Phobos is actually able to one-shot Favera in these team fights. So I'm not actually a big fan of his team, well, of his actual build, mostly because I enjoy someone who's a little bit more poke, especially when he has something that wants to just hard engage with his team. And this bot lane's actually really bad from the side of Red Pandas because they've set up a freeze. We know that the jungle is down here as well, so Favera and Metallic just can't touch this wave.
Absolutely right, Zathos. Yeah, this is extremely awkward for Varus and Rakan. They cannot safely walk up. They did have some vision in that river, so they actually did have eyes on Stevo. They knew for a fact that they were not allowed to walk up to contest that wave, so at least they won't die. They won't be giving over any kills to their opponents, which is some good news, but you know we can already see falling a little bit behind in CS is this Varus.
Yeah, no, just the golden XP they are losing is just going to be so devastating, especially for these early game fights that they will be trying to get around this Drake. And because of the wave being like this, it does mean that the jungle of Sejuani can come down as well and look for something.
Yeah. Stevo just clearing out this vision, looking to potentially make a move towards that dragon very, very early on, you know, especially given the bot lane priority that, as you once again predicted from the draft, is going to be in Shirley's possession. Phobos, oh, that was very cute. Unbinds the soul to dodge away from the smash. Kayoya should be losing out in this trade. Sion actually a level up right now, so able to hang on decently in this lane at the moment, but we do see Mega Chad making his way into the mid lane. The flash comes out from Chu, and the death sentence just wide right there. I guess you can't hit all of them.
Yeah, fancy feet coming out from Chu, getting himself out to safety. I'm actually surprised he didn't just flash out straight away. It would have kept him in a lot of a safer position, meaning that he wouldn't have had to do the fancy feats. And another thing that is quite interesting, we know that Jinx is meant to be behind in this bot lane, but actually has more CS, and we know that KO is meant to be behind this top lane, and he actually has CS himself, more than this top laner.
Yeah. The Scion hasn't really stacked up any armor yet, so we can see Kaoria still taking quite a bit of damage from the Yone whenever Phobos goes in for these trades, and Stevo is on the top side of the map right now. So it is actually JP for the side of the Panda Warriors that's going to make the early move towards this neutral objective and should be able to secure it no problem.
Especially when he has priority in this bot side and this mid lane, it just makes it so easy for him, knowing that his team will back him up whenever he needs so. And I really love to position him from this regard, knowing that he can come to his jungler's help whenever he needs to, and it's also there with Favera whenever he needs him himself.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I like that you point that out. Metallica hovering between his bot laner and the jungler taking the dragon, so the Rakan would have been able to assist wherever he was needed. As it turns out, he wasn't necessarily needed anywhere in that particular instance. But definitely, good that you call that out.
Yeah, it's not even that bad that he wasn't needed in either position. It's just good to be somewhere like that where you're able just to support 100%. Everybody on your team. Because there's a lot of times where you do something on Rakan where you're not actually able to find and engage. You're just sitting here supported, because even here, he's just gaining so much pressure for his team because this Veigar needs to now play a little bit more defensively and give Chu more aggression in this lane to try and look for something.
And that is actually often the case in League of Legends, right? It's not always about how you use your abilities. Sometimes it's about when you use your abilities. It's about the threat of your opponents knowing that that ability is available, knowing that you have this position where they're not able to take the actions that they otherwise would. And really Metallica displaying that for us very nicely.
Yeah, and Mega Chad's doing that as well quite a lot when he plays this dash. Sometimes you actually see that he holds onto his hip to make it a little bit easier, so I might have to wait. Vex.
Yeah, Shadow Surge not going to land, but Yone still likely in some trouble. Ooh, the Fate Sealed coming out there gets him to safety. So enough distance, I suppose, away from the Scion to where the range on the ultimate was not shortened, and Phobos easily able to make it out.
There was actually a massive mistake coming out from Chu, mostly because his ultimate, he should have waited for San to find a stun, and on top of that, he should have waited to use his W for the fear coming out, but instead used his E and then used his W, meaning that the fear wasn't actually going to get procced.
Okay, so now Stevo in the top side now, going to be able to get the Frostbite. Phobos, of course, no ultimate. Had to use that to retreat earlier, so they do not have kill threat on the Scion right now, who was extremely healthy. Down to about 50% now.
Yeah, we see that Rift Herald hasn't actually been spotted out yet. We do also have Rakan in the area, so they do go for a fight. It will be looking good. Dash has moved up as well, be a 3v3.
Yeah, that's another nice... Oh, that's the flash Q from Stevo, but doesn't actually get the knock-up. But it's not going to matter as Remnant comes out with the Primordial Burst Exhaust now. Coming out from Varus onto Willow. Does get a good trade. Does Vivera forces the flash out from Willow. Really great use of the exhaust there to win out in the exchange.
Yeah, Willow thinking he had more damage because he got himself the Noon Quiver and a level up. But you don't understand how much Rivera can deal, especially with his arrows when they're empowered, meaning that just gets absolutely bursted out, has to flash out to safety, and he's going to miss the whole entire wave.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Willow just, maybe the... Actually, the situation from last game where the Jinx was so far ahead, maybe kind of throwing off his calculations there a little bit. Just being used from that previous game, being used to that huge advantage, not necessarily having that this time around means that trade was not necessarily as much in his favor as maybe he had expected.
Yeah, sometimes I have that in my solo queue games where I think I'm just so powerful, but then I go into a new game and I just can't deal any damage. I'm seeing them like, why don't I deal damage anymore?
Absolutely. Happens to the best of us, right?
And the worst.
That's fair enough. Also true. We are looking at a pretty closely contested early game this time around, Zeth, though certainly much closer than game number 1 was, which we're all happy to see, of course. The top laners are going to continue going at it. Phobos is going to get knocked up, but able to get off the ultimate first. So Yone, we're actually taking a look at the Yeah, how does the fight break out? It's in the bottom lane. Mega Chad able to take down the Varus in the top lane. It will be the Yone that wins out in the 1v1, but down here, it is JP able to trade one back. Now, as Stevo makes his way into the bottom lane, Metallica running rapidly out of HP, and Willow's going to be able to pick up their first kill of the game. So, a 3-for-1 across the map. It is surely to come out significantly ahead.
Yeah, able to pick up another tower plate onto this Jinx, having his Sejuani, keeping him perfectly safe in his bot side. And this already comes down to Rakan not having the ultimate, not being able to get there fast enough. And the reason he doesn't have it is because you saw these plays where he roamed to this mid lane, roamed to the Rift Herald, but he wasn't actually picking up XP from anywhere, meaning that he is not even level 6 yet, so he wasn't able to be useful in that fight.
Yeah, just wasn't really the ideal setup for the side of the Panda Warriors, unfortunately, but... You know, just as I was saying it, the gold lead, it has extended a little bit now in favor of Surely. They're starting to pull slightly ahead in this second game. We are going to have the second dragon coming up in just about 5 seconds here, Zathos. But JP dropping that Herald in bottom lane gives them a little bit of priority to try and move into contest for the Pandas.
Yeah, I really wasn't a big fan of the Thresh roam up to the top side, making it a little bit more difficult for him to be joining his team, and he will be a little bit late.
Vex waiting off in the wings as JP goes back in to try and bait out some abilities. Not going to necessarily work just yet. Both top laners still very comfortable up in this top side. Neither one has the teleport available at the moment, so it would be a 4-for-4 for fighting over this dragon. But we're just going to get a good trade here.
Yeah, not enough damage coming out from the top lane of Yone to be able to do anything. But you know, when they used the Rift Herald in the bot side, it was actually a really good opportunity for Red Panda Warriors to be going for this Drake, especially when they have the mid lane prior on Chu, so he can move whatever they want. But instead, opt to stay a little bit safer and just trying to farm up.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, I certainly do agree with you, Zathos, but okay, Kaoya, is he still okay? Fate Sealed is available for Phobos, but has to be careful, doesn't want to go underneath the turret for it. Dragon has been secured by Surely.
Vex nearby, has the ultimate.
Yeah, good look for the Shadow Surge here, as Chu does also have that available. Phobos trying to do some alcove gaming. Do they know where he is? He's gonna go over the wall. He gets the Fate Sealed onto 2. Phobos, can he outplay it? No! The fear comes down. He's gonna go back to the body and likely going to get cleaned up by the spells. Yeah, there it is. The personal space, I believe, is the Vex W as Chu able to get the shutdown onto Phobos. Yone's first death of the game.
Phobos, you were safe, man. If you just stayed there, he would not have been spotted.
I don't think they knew where he was. Yeah.
But on the opposite side, we actually see that Jinx is getting quite a lot, and this is because Rakan tried to run to this mid lane, tried to make something happen. But because Vex was up top, they can't do anything 1 versus 2, so then he has to back, and leaving the Vivere on his own means that he just has to lose these tower plates.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, he does have his jungler here. Oh, Chain of Corruption just short there.
Yeah, if that hit, it would have been an easy kill on that Jinx, especially when you have the ultimate, the Cataclysm on JP to be able to cover him.
Yeah. Not going to happen this time around, though. Now it's going to be the reset for the Jarvan. Back to base, able to complete the Gore Drinker. Pretty good news.
There seems to be quite a few small mistakes that both of these teams are making with some of their roam timings, with how they've been moving around this map, where sometimes you see that one of the players really wants to make a move while the enemy or the opposite player doesn't actually want to, as mid lane. Might be in a bit of danger. The ultimate is up for the Sejuani.
Oh yeah, Steve-O waiting in the wings. Mega Chad also here. Death Sentence not going to land. Event Horizon also not quite on target.
Had flash out, so was completely safe in that situation. But good look coming out from the side of Surely, trying to see whatever they can do. Withheld is also going to be spawning in the next 10 seconds, so I'm expecting both of these teams to be trying to contest for it, trying to open up this map, and probably focus this around the bot side.
Yeah. It was, of course, the Panda Warriors that were once again able to secure the first Rift Herald this game. But last time around, of course, in Game 2, it was Surely that took the second one. We'll see if that history does end up repeating itself. So right now, it is JP towards this topside river, but has been spotted out, of course.
Yeah, the major items we need to look at is the top lane of Yone actually able to get his Immortal Shield Bow, and on the opposite side, Jinx.
Oh, excited. Has Mega Chad here as well to defend. The exhaust comes out for Vivera, but it's not going to be enough, I think, this time around. Oh, auto attacks a ward there. Death Rocket, wide left. Vivera trying to turn it around. Not going to happen. Willow with the rockets, had the lethal tempo stacked, and the Kraken Slayer completed as well. Jinx able to clean it up.
Yeah, no, the Kraken Slayer was the complete difference in that, and especially not having the empowered Q coming out for Vera, meaning that he just doesn't have the damage. And because this Ricardo's been roaming around the map so much, trying to help his team, Vera's just been losing so much.
Oh, trying to set up now for the Vex. Here comes Chu, able to get the shutdown onto Jinx, and now Mega Chad, no support is coming for the Thresh. Likely going to get cleaned up here as well as the Q comes out, and Chu picks up the double. But in the top side, it's going to be Phobos, Fate sealing himself towards safety. Remnant making their way up here on the Veigar as well. One more auto attack there. Should be the Frostbite Kaoya flashing away from the Sejuani. Necessary flash for the Scion, able to stay alive, or the Veigar collapse would have spelled his demise.
Yeah, but this does open an opportunity to go for this Rift Herald if they do want, especially when they're priority in this top side. But instead, they decide to go for the reset because of JP still having the smite up and scared of the contestation. Overall, that's really good from the side of Shawley's bot side, being able to get this Jinx slightly more ahead. On the opposite side, we do see that Chu is fine again. A few items, opted to go for the damage room, trying to get that Luna's Tempest, which does mean that he is going to be looking for this Jinx in this late game to burst down.
Yeah, looking like possibly a Shadow Flame second. There's another item also that Hextech Alternator builds into that I don't remember, but I feel like Shadow Flame is probably a pretty likely candidate. Oh, hang on now. We've got the Flay backwards onto Chu. The Flame Chompers, oh, just a little bit too far forward. Not able to get the Flay onto the Chompers there, as Willow takes quite a bit of damage from that piercing arrow. Dragon in 35 seconds.
Yeah, that gives enough time for everybody to reset and get ready for this Drake. It's going to be so bad if we don't actually see Vivera finish his first item off, because Jinx is going to be so powerful in the next fight.
Definitely the case. Don't think Vivera has enough. Oh, that's a Death Rocket. Yeah, Vera's extremely low. Not going to be able to move over to contest this Dragon, I don't believe. Should be a pretty free Cloud Drake over to Shurley.
Jinx actually opting for the reset. I'm actually quite surprised by this, because if he was actually able to stay, Chu doesn't have the TP, is too low to contest, and same with Vivera, would have been an easy take. So instead, they have opted to go for the safer decision and not go for it. As on the top side, we do also see KO taking the first tower for his team.
Yeah. I mean, it is not the first brick that was claimed by Willow in the bottom lane, but it is the first turret going over for the Panda Warriors. So good from Kaoya, and, you know, with the Scion committing to that take of the tier 1 turret in the top lane, would have especially expected that move towards the Drake, but they will do so now, as Shirley look to lock this one down, but it's also going to be the second Herald that does go over now to the Pandas.
Yeah, even trade coming from both teams, as Phobos is just trying to get a little bit of chip damage off. I think he actually took more damage than anything else.
Just a cheeky look at, well, that's going to be a death sentence onto the Rakan, but he is very slippery, so Metallica able to grandly exit from that position.
Merc Treads actually kept him out to safety. If he didn't have those Merc Treads, would have been CC for just a second longer, and the Veigar catering now to get him up. So good adaptation coming out from Metallic to make his game just a little bit easier, as they may actually have to lose this mid lane tower as well, especially when they're Vals in this bot side.
Yeah, the Merc Treads a lot of value into the Sejuani as well, of course, so I do quite like that buy. Oh, that cage will lock him down, though, and it doesn't matter how much tenacity you have, Zathos. If you get hit by the Veigar ultimate, Control-Alt-Delete from Remnant takes out the enemy support. Phobos now losing out in this trade. Shield Bow popped by Kaoya, as Willow is going to find J4 in his own jungle. Mega Chad gets the flash out with the Death Sentence. Mega Death Rocket, not quite enough damage. Willow almost able to get the kill, but will have to settle for the Wolves.
Yeah, but the most important thing is none of the main carries or the people with items and gold on them, JP and Chu, don't die. So most of the gold isn't actually picked up yet, and all the bounties are still safe on the side of Red Panda Warriors.
Yeah, they do have bounties on that entire top side, as you can see, guys. Even the 0-3 Scion has a 150 gold bounty on his head, I guess thanks to that turret take.
It's
and farm diff,
it's
yes,
a turret and a farm diff. That's the only real way if you can get it, as he's actually TPing the top side. I don't think he realizes there's 4 members around him.
I don't know if he does. This looks a bit dangerous, but Jarvan is also in the area, and surely he's actually going to think better of it.
Well, I didn't realize that Scion actually had 4K, so I'm not sure if that tower dive was even feasible, even if he was on his lonesome, because he'd been able to tank up basically that whole thing. And this is the awkward low moment that Yon has between this matchup against the Scion, where he doesn't really have that armor penetration or having enough healing where he's able to deal with the Scion. So Kaioya is going to be stronger. Something that he could have opted into was maybe like Blade of the Rune King, give him a lot more damage in this 1v1 potential, but this does give Kaioya the opportunity to actually one-shot him if he is able to hit the ultimate.
Yeah, the Blade of the Ruin King also would have offered some lifesteal, right, for the Yone, so would have been able to get a little bit of sustain from that item as well, but of course then the trade-off is you don't get the crit chances. That's going to be a death sentence onto the Jarvan, who already used EQ, but is going to be able to get back to the flag that he had placed previously. The Glacial Prison, though, will connect. Death sentence just short, and now the flag is dragged back off cooldown once again, but the Fate's Sealed over the wall can Phobos finish him off. One more auto attack, and there he goes. Yone able to get the kill with the assistance of the Super Rocket from Willow. And that is a pick onto the jungler with Baron alive. Do Shirley go for it?
I don't think it's even possible, especially when the enemy members of Red Pandas have 4 members up and they're all completely healthy. So I would just recommend healing up, getting a bit healthier, and just take this free kill and getting yourselves wards down. But one thing we didn't talk about was Chu coming out with a clutch fearing 3 members on the side of Shorely, meaning they couldn't re-engage onto JP. But then that allows Phobos to flash over, able to use the ultimate as well to get onto JP and take a shutdown.
Yeah, definitely well played by Shirley, and I was maybe getting a little overexcited there, calling for the Baron move. They were, of course, able to take the Baron at 20 minutes on the side of Shirley in the previous game, but this time around, they don't quite have the same advantage for themselves. So I think you're absolutely right that a little bit of a more conservative call was warranted, as Phobos has taken so much damage from this full tank Scion, as does dodge away from that decimating smash, and the death sentence will connect. He has his friends here now, does the Yone, and Scion the same cannot be said. Desperately trying to get the trade back onto the enemy top laner. Phobos is going to have to run away from the zombie Scion. Estivo also taking a bit of damage here, but Kaioya not going to be able to get that return kill.
Yeah, Steve-O using the Smite to slow him down, leaving his top laner able to run away out to safety, so really well played from him. While on the opposite side, we do see Red Panda is able to pick up the mid lane tower, able to get pressure on the second one, and get wards down for next Drake.
Definitely. I mean, it is a kill onto the Scion, but how much does that really give you, right? Is it, you've given up the tier 1 turret for this and bot controls. That's so much damage! And that's going to be a kill.
In the back
line. No. Yeah, okay. Yone going for that deep teleport, but not going to be able to cut anybody off. And, oh, man, the Panda Warriors, it felt like they were in such a good position after that topside commitment, but then JP overextending a bit into that enemy jungle gives over the kill.
Yeah, Remnant hiding in the bush, meaning that he wasn't spotted, so he was able to get right behind JP, able to lock him up in the cage, and there's just nothing you can do from there. So this means it's going to be a free Drake over to the side of Shorely.
Yeah, it was the Veigar that is what caused the Jarvan to not be able to escape in that situation. Absolutely right, as, oh, Scion might now be in trouble as well, going to be able to flash out of the event horizon. And does survive with use of that summoner spell. But as you were saying, Zathos, the dragon does go over.
Yeah, this kind of opens up the game a little bit from the side of Shorely because of their main carries getting most of the kills. Be it 4-1 on the Yone, 2-0 on the Veigar, and 3-1 on the Jinx. And all of them have finished off their 2 items. They're going to be in a really strong position whenever they want to contest it down.
Yeah, it is feeling like a very, very good position now in this game for the side of Shorely. You know, they have their Cloud Soul point, of course, after securing that last neutral, and they do have those 2-item spikes coming through, as you were just mentioning. It is the Shadow Flame done for Chu as well on the Vex, so the mid laner for the Panda Warriors definitely pretty strong right now at the present time.
Yeah, but we're going to have to see what they're going to do with their lead, because surely have so many different options. Do they just want to try and take the top lane out of tower? Do they want to just try and push out this lead? Maybe put Yone towards bot side even, getting him to try and push up and then look for this Baron instead? Or they just want to try and look for these fights in this mid lane and really try and get the ball rolling like last game?
They did get the teleport out of Vex there to defend the top tier 1. No neutral on the bottom side right now to go for, so Chu pretty okay with expending the summoner spell. But Scion,
he actually needs to be quite scared. careful here, mostly because if Sejuani actually wants to go for him, would have been able to climb off and get him killed and actually go for bound. But instead, Vex is able to get out to safety, but this does mean top tower's completely free for the side of Surely. So a good map play, get themselves a free tower.
Absolutely, but also good respect shown from Chu. And now the Shadow Surge going to connect. The Fear comes down, and they're going to get the kill on Phobos. The turret still alive, but JP not so much. The Jarvan does get taken down. Willow is excited, cleaning up in this fight. The last rocket from Fishbones gets Chu after the flash. The Death Sentence going to land straight onto the AD carry, and it's going to be Mega Chad, the difference maker once again. And now the turret will fall in the end after all. The Electric Assault going to connect, and the Death Sentence will as well. Once again, Mega Chad. The 90% hit rate will continue, and it is going to be a 4-for-1 fight for Surely in the top side. They get the turret, and they can look for more.
Yeah, really well played from Surely. The start looked a bit rough for them, not going to lie. Having the Thresh being out of position, not being able to support them, and then having the rest of the team and not being able to follow up. As we get to have a quick replay to see Thresh is just out of position, finally being able to get back into where it's meant to be, being able to peel for this Jinx. And then after they take one down, Jinx is just able to open up, able to fire down, just able to just take off this fire. And a beautiful hook coming out from Mega Chad, able to just to lock him up. After taking tower as well, just hook after hook, they're able to just take this team fight for free.
Yeah. It was, like you said, pretty close initially. It looked like maybe the side of the Panda Warriors had found an angle there, but in the end, it was Mega Chad again on this Thresh that was able to turn it around. And once again, it was Willow on the Jinx that was able to clean up that fight. You know, in live, while we were watching that replay, the Baron did go over to Surely, and they were able to get another kill onto JP, as well as the Jarvan tried to move in to go for a Miracle Steal, wasn't able to find it, gives over another kill, and now it is going to be Surely with full priority across this map, 90 seconds until Cloud Soul is available.
Freeman, 6 more minutes. That's how long it took Surely to take their Baron of the game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, that's an improvement coming out from Red Panda Warriors, but how much of an improvement is that really in the grand scheme of things, that they are on a really big back foot?
Yeah, it's going to be a Glacial Prison onto the support, who just gets completely 100-0'd. Metallica not even able to flash, just gets completely deleted, and now it's going to be the Vex that gets deleted as well. It's Remnant level 16 on this Veigar. He's just one-shotting everybody. It's a triple kill for Remnant, and once again, the Penta will be denied as Willow says, hey, I want to kill. And yeah, you're 100% right, Zathos. That's the end of the game. Just like that. It is going to be Surely that take the 2-0. It's going to be Surely that secure second place for themselves at the end of the group stage here in Season 5 of the Cobalt Wins League. Absolutely phenomenally done. Excellent performances across the entire team in this last best of 2 that they had. And I think whoever they're going up against in the playoffs is going to have to be pretty nervous after watching this one.
What a game coming out from Surely yet again. A little bit of a slow start, but when they started ramping it up, they were able to get themselves right back into it. And big props to Mega Chad and Willow after that level 1 fight from JP. Able to bounce back, able to get themselves a lead yet again. And in that last fight, Mega Chad was able to hit 3 different members in there, killing all 3 with his team. Really a big support game coming out for him. But we have to also give big props to Remnant, because we always talk about this bot side, but that top side really came in clutch that game. Remnant was able to get some clutch cages in for his team, able to get themselves a big lead in that game.
Yeah, Remnant doing some Veigar things in that one. Scaling up, hits level 16, and just starts one-shotting everybody. Him and Stevo both deathless, actually, in this second game. 6-0-4 for the Veigar, 1-0-13 for the Sejuani. And of course, Willow and Mega Chad really popping off down there in the bottom lane as well. Just some strong performances across the board for Surely. And it's all relative, right? Zathos, I mean, you were saying that it was a little bit of a slow start. Of course it was compared to the start they had in game number 1, but overall, this was still a very decisive win.
I just felt like we didn't see the full strength coming out from the Red Pandas today. And it was mostly because their mid laner and their top laner wasn't actually available for today. I mean, it's going to be a lot more difficult to win because of communication just so important in a game of League of Legends. And it felt like Red Pandas just weren't on the same page most of the time. One player wanted to do one thing, the other player wanted to do something else. And especially when it's your solo laners who are such a major integral part in how this game works, no wonder Red Pandas didn't have the best showing. However, there were actually some good things to come out of this. Red Pandas did actually have a few chances to get themselves back in this game. Some of these team fights they were able to pull off, and they're able to really come together as a cohesion, were really strong and powerful.
Yeah, I thought Chu actually was a big high point for the Pandas in this one. The Vex was moving around the map very well. Actually found a couple of big punishes, one onto Willow and one onto Phobos, notably, that did keep the Pandas in the game for a little while longer than they otherwise would have been. But I do really like the fact that you point that out, Zathos. This is week 7 of the season, right? These teams have been playing together for about 2 months now. And that synergy is really, really important, as you mentioned. You could really see it coming through on the side of Shur Li. They were working together as a team very, very cohesively. And it does make sense that with those 2 emergency substitutions, the Panda Warriors might just not have been able to replicate their usual level of success, their usual level of coordination that they have with their starting lineup. So while that doesn't, entirely discount the outcome of this game, I do think it is an important factor and something that we shouldn't forget about, definitely.
Well, we do get to see both of these teams more, though, because of both making the playoffs. We do have, surely, because they won both games, this was really good for them getting themselves into the 2nd position. They are going to be going against the 3rd seeded team instead of the 4th seeded team, so it's something not bad at all. And Red Panda Warriors, it didn't matter if they were going to win or weren't going to win, they're going to be in the exact same position, getting themselves in that 5th position. I mean, they are in the lower brackets, but we do get to see more of this team, and I can't wait to see Red Panda Warriors at their full strength, their full roster.
Yeah, this win does mean, as you say, Zathos, that the side of Shur Li are going to be able to avoid the 1st seed in the 1st round of playoffs. So, regardless, Shur Li would have been able to secure a spot in the double elimination stage. As the top 4 seeds that actually get seeded directly into that upper bracket. So, regardless, they would have had that 2nd life, but obviously an easier opponent in that 1st round is something that Shur Li can be very, very happy with. But in terms of a POG for this game, Zathos, again, I don't think they made it very easy for us. Are we looking at the bot lane again? Their lead wasn't as early, it wasn't as decisive as game number 1, but certainly Mega Chad and Willow both performed extremely well once again. What are your thoughts?
Well, it depends. Are we a big fan of giving it to new players or just keeping it the same old? Because if we want to be honest, I believe it has to go easily towards the spot lane. I'll give it to Mega Chad this game, mostly because of how many hooks and how integral he was to getting his team ahead. If we want to have someone new, I would probably give it to the mid lane of Revenant, because he was actually such a crucial part, because he wasn't able to die in this game and was so integral in just making sure that his Jinx was able to stay safe in his late game fights and was able to do her job.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my kind of initial thought was leaning towards Mega Chad once again. I would personally say that Steve-O would maybe be the dark horse in this particular vote for myself, personally. I felt like he was...
it to mods.
Oh, is that illegal? Is that against the rules? Steve-O's ineligible for MVP votes?
I feel like somebody in chat is going to be saying, oh, what the hell? A mod's getting it? Rig must be. What the hell? I should have won it. No, but
well, thankfully, I do think that all of you chatters out there can cast your own votes. So do head over to that MVP votes channel in the cafe section of the Discord server to make your own opinion known. But yeah, I definitely think that some good options across the board there, Zathos.
Yeah, Steve-O does deserve to have a mention at least. He did play very well. And of course, you can vote for him. There will be no unfair plays. And then he's in the back quickly just changing everyone's votes, rigging them, making sure that he wins. So if he does win, I'm not saying anything, but it might be a tad bit rigged. But no, it's been a really fun game to watch today. The 2nd game showed a lot of potential from Red Panda Warriors, and that's the most important part of a series like this and this real league in a whole, mostly because of these players are coming to the echelon where they're going to be amazing very soon, but they aren't there just yet. So it's really good to see these players really trying to push their limits and trying to see what their full potential is.
Yeah, 100%. And as you mentioned earlier on, Zathos, we will be seeing both of these squads in the postseason. Actually, everybody in Division 2 is going to have a chance in those playoffs. But do you have any closing thoughts on this particular matchup, or any thoughts overall, as we conclude the group stage and look towards the playoffs?
Well, I don't really have too many things to say, except for I am so hyped coming into these playoffs because of how many different teams I see win and lose against each other. There is no real team that I think is going to absolutely take this away. Even Shaw Lee in second position, I think they could come first. I think they could even come fifth with how close this season has been so far.
Yeah, I mean, if they play like they did today, then I think it's a very real possibility that Shaw Lee could go the distance. We're just going to have to wait and see, but not sure if we are going to be getting an interview or anything like that. I know voting still ongoing, and yes, I did just get word that we're not going to be able to make that interview happen. I'm sure they'll be available for the playoffs, but not just yet. So nothing like that tonight, guys. Do you have any final thoughts before we sign off tonight, Zathos?
Well, I don't have too many thoughts. All I want to say is thank you, everybody, for listening to my voice. Thank you for listening to Crewman as well. If you do want to give me a follow, I will be having my, Twitter is going to be the same, at Zapdos. Crewman, anything you want to shout out?
I mean, my own Twitter at csnoms44. But yeah, I appreciate any follows that you would like to offer us, guys. But regardless, thank you very much for watching. We appreciate y'all very much. We'll see you back here in a couple of weeks. Next week, we are off. There is going to be a break between the end of the regular season here and the playoffs, but we will be back in 2 weeks to begin that postseason. We'll see you then. Thank you so much for watching tonight. For now, from myself, from Zathos, from the entire production team at the CWL, we appreciate y'all very much. Have a good night.